live. We're going to start off today, and we are going to be learning about how, when we get our performance task for the M-STEP, we're going to approach it. So, does anyone remember, what's our approach to problem solving? Just to think, raise your hand if you know it. Really? 2 people? Come on. What's our approach? Raise your hand if you know our approach to problem solving. I'm not going to say it out loud. How do we solve a problem? We always start in these certain steps. Okay, let's sit down. Let's say it together. Ready? Sit down. Okay, you can take the word from right there. I say you, you say it back to me. You
understand.
That's right, it's Upsal. P
Plan.
L
Solve.
Oh, I'm sorry. S
Solve.
L
Look back.
Upsal is our plan. Understand, plan, solve, and look back. And when we usually use problem solving, what do you guys usually think of? What do you think of when you do problem solving? Which thing do you think of?
Underlining.
Underlining, okay. I want you to think about this for a second. Do we just do it for math, or do we do it for all subjects? Which one?
All subjects.
We do it for all subjects. Okay. So this is actually for language arts. Okay? So we're going to try to use Upsal. What do you think is the first thing you're going to do when you see a big passage like this, Emily? What's the first thing you do? We do this a lot. When you see a big, huge passage like this, what do you got to do with it? Read it! Read it, read it, read it, read it. Okay, ready? Here we go. You get your finger out. Do you want to get a chair, Miss Campbell? So that you're good? You like? Okay. Here we go. Your reading finger's on here. You're following along. Juliet Gordon Lowe, A Guiding Light for Girls. You're following with your finger. Juliet, I'm still waiting for some fingers. I see some friends that are not following. Juliet Gordon Lowe is famous for founding the Girl Scouts. Right now, I want you to take your pencil and I want you to underline right here the very first sentence. Underline the first sentence.
All of it?
The whole thing. And then after you've underlined the first sentence, I want you to tell me, what does the first sentence mean? What is it? We're looking, let me take that back. We're looking for genre. When we think of genre, we think of genre as a umbrella. And under the umbrella, there's 2 parts of the umbrella, like a red part and a white part.
Non-fiction and fiction.
Non-fiction and fiction. So let's put this in. First, let's go ahead and put this in. Juliet Gordon Lowe is famous for founding the Girl Scouts. Everyone underlined that, right?
Yes.
Now it's time to pick out our genre. Do we think that this guy is going to be non-fiction or fiction? Which one? You think it's going to be non-fiction? You are correct. This is non-fiction. And who can tell me right away something we know about non-fiction compared to fiction? When you're taking your test, Zachary, what do you always notice about the non-fiction test? It has a lot of facts. Write that down. Fact. We know it has a lot of facts. What else do we know about nonfiction? Think about like your nonfiction test you just took. Oh boy. Compared to that other fiction test that we just took. Mason, what did you notice? A lot harder. Write this to yourself. Can be, write this down. Can be more challenging. It's more challenging. So we know that if we're going to go for nonfiction, nonfiction can be more challenging. All right. So now that we've got an idea in our head that this is going to be nonfiction, it's going to be fact, we got to think of it that way. Jayla, do you remember why I said that nonfiction is harder to get in your head? Why do we, yeah, it's a lot of facts, but it doesn't have something that we always like. There's something our brains really, really like. George? No. Does anyone remember what I said? Why our brains have something we really want, and when we're reading, and we're trying to get it, and it's hard to get, and if we can't get it, we struggle with it. We like this.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Jason?
You're doubting yourself.
No, it's called the story.
Oh, what?
A lot of times we struggle to understand the story in a nonfiction. But look, this is good. We're going to have a story, and I'm going to use us. What can we use to help us remember what we read?
Umbrella.
A strategy. Someone raise your hand, tell me a reading strategy you want to use. What's the strategy you want to use? Jacob. You want flip it as a strategy of restatement, but that's not a reading strategy. Different strategy. Bianca.
Main idea.
Oh, Bianca, look at this.
Detail.
Bianca wants to use this one. Draw it. Let's see. Maybe draw it in right here.
Details.
Bianca's going to use this one.
Details.
Yeah, Bianca wants to use her main idea and her detail. Okay.
I said details.
So let's go through and read. Get that reading finger back out.
The blue letter.
She founded the Girl Scouts organization. Everyone's finger should be out. If your finger's not out, you're going on the board. More than 100 years ago, her independent personality and her experiences in life helped to explain how this popular group came to be. We're going to switch readers so you can pay attention. Sometimes when you have a different reading voice, you can pay attention. Miss Logan, come up here and I'll come sit by. Miss Logan, read the second paragraph, and then Mrs. Campbell, you're going to read the third.
Juliet was born on October 31st, 1860. She grew up in Savannah, Georgia with 5 siblings. Juliet was a happy, creative child. She wrote poetry and plays, and she was also very artistic. Juliet loved to draw pictures of the world around her. She had a wonderful sense of humor as well. Every year on her birthday, Juliet would stand on her head just to prove she could.
All right.
How could you do that?
Now Mrs. Campbell's going to come. Go. Sorry, we had a quick question. Yes, if you wanted to underline something that stood out to you, you could. Go ahead, you could do that. Go ahead.
Although Juliet loved the arts, she was also an adventurous child. She was happy to be outdoors exploring. She was a good athlete too. Juliet was a strong swimmer, played tennis, and was the captain of her rowing team.
We're going to switch. When she grew older, Juliet went away to school in Virginia and then New York. These schools were meant to prepare her to be a proper, notice it's in quotation marks, young woman of that time period. But Juliet had other ideas. When she graduated, she traveled in the United States and Europe. She wanted to explore the world. Go ahead, Miss Logan. James,
Figure 1. When Juliet was 26 years old, she married an Englishman. Although she moved to England to be with her husband, she still found many reasons to continue traveling and returning to the United States. After all, it was her home. Finger on none. Then, in 1911, Juliet met a man who would change her life forever. Sir Robert, is that Baden?
Yeah.
Powell. He was the founder of the Boy Scouts. This was an organization that taught boys a variety of outdoor skills that would help them as they grew older. Juliet loved Robert's idea and wanted to start her own group for girls in the United States.
Keep going, find your page, that's the skill. Rob, James, I'm sorry. George, this is fine. This is Logan, and Mrs. Campbell are reading. Okay, let's hear what happens to Juliet. She returned to America shortly afterwards and began planning her new group. Juliet wanted it to be an organization in which girls could learn to be independent. She did not want them to have to rely on men to do things for them. Instead, she wanted to teach them skills that would help them to become strong, confident women. Juliet's group taught traditional home skills for girls in that time period, but it also taught professional skills in the arts, sciences, and even business. This was unheard of at that time. In 1912,
Juliet proudly registered for her first troop of 18 girls. Her group was called the American Girl Guides. She later changed the name to the Girl Scouts. Juliet's group went on to become one of the most popular girls' clubs in America. Currently, more than 59 million people have been members of it.
So very quickly, before we lose our content, we're going to go back through and we're going to use Bianca's strategy of main idea to go through each of these paragraphs and try to pick out the main idea. So let's put it back. And looking at that first one, I'm going to very simply do this. I would have found the topic sentence at the beginning. She is famous for founding, I'm going to write a name right here. She's famous for founding the Girl Scouts. So right here I'm going to make this little brackety thing, and I'm going to write started. She started the Girl Scouts. Why would I use a different word other than founded? Anybody have any idea why I would use a different word? Jayla? We don't want to use the same word in the text when we're summarizing. It helps our brains if we use different words. Excellent job. Could you add a point for that, George? Okay. Juliet was born on October 31st, 1890, and this is about, ooh, someone have an idea? What would you write here? What is this paragraph about? Talk to your partners at your table real fast and see if you can come up. What do you think that's about?
There's only 4, so I'll take James.
I know it's hard. Go ahead and talk to James.
It's because you're personally the character. Yeah, I want to switch over some.
For real.
3, 2, 1, stop. All right, what do you think it's about? Priscilla. Okay, so it's about her being born. Mason. Nice, awesome. So it's about her as a child. Julie as a child. Let's go on. Oh, and so here's some things that she likes on her as a child. But then let's go to the next paragraph. Really quickly, read over the next paragraph. And raise your hand if you think you know what the next paragraph is about. Alex?
Her personality.
Okay, it's got part about, she loves the arts. I love that you use that word personality. She's also adventurous. What kind of personality do you think she has? Oh, looking at this, what do you think would be there's one word. Everybody take your pencil. There's one word, yes, that's awesome. One word.
Explore.
One word in that paragraph. I want you to circle one word, Isaiah. Circle one word that you think is an important word. One that is important. One that's important. Bianca.
Adventures.
Let's circle adventurous, and there's another word too. She was also a good what? Athlete.
I was going to say that.
So let's write that in. Adventurous and athletic. That's very important. She's adventurous and athletic.
Who said that?
No. When she grew older, Juliet went away to school in Virginia. Look at this one real fast. Tell me what you think this one's about. You had to come up with a main idea. If you could circle one word, circle it first, George, and show the word to Mrs. Campbell, and see Miss Logan if you could find anybody who circles that right word. There's a word there.
The same paragraph? In the same paragraph?
In this paragraph, in the next paragraph, there's one word that I would circle that this is all about.
Got it.
Show it to Mrs. Campbell. Let me see.
That's right. Next.
Nice! Emily got it. George, give Emily a point. What is school?
I thought it was prepare.
So it's about her schooling.
Virginia.
This is Patty. Prepare.
It's not about preparing, it's about her schooling. So this is all about her educational experiences, okay? So now let's grow on to this one. Tell me in this one what this one is about. What's this one about? Read it and see if you can circle a word. Circle a word, Jacob, for me. Do you think is important? One word. Savannah, what do you think is important in that one? Did you find a word? Keep looking.
Home.
No, there's one big word about a big event that happens in her life when she turns 26. Isaiah?
Mary's an Englishman.
Mary! So let's write that down. So she gets married.
Ta-da.
And we know that she moves to England. And now let's go on to the next one. Then, come down to that next paragraph and see if you can find out what's important in that next one. What's an important idea? James, look at the last paragraph. I know you can do this. And find what you think is the most important thing. We're going to put our hands down. We're going to wait for James. Circle something on your own paper, George. And then we'll see what James comes up with. Because I know he's gotten so good at being an idea. There's one important event that happens in that last paragraph. What would you say it was? Yeah, you're right.
Next.
She says, yep, she meets Sir Robert Baden-Powell. Why is that important, James? What did he do? He was the founder of what? Powell. Look at it, James. That's fair to say. James, what was he now? Now that you've been told. He was the founder of what? The Boy Scouts. So Powell founded the Boy Scouts. James, why do you think that's important to Juliet? What idea is she going to get from that? You read the rest of the story. She's going to make the Girl Scouts. Excellent. Good job. Okay, flip it over. Again, these look so similar to our stories. Okay, so now look at this next paragraph. Underline a word. Use that up. So underline something you think is important. When you've got it, raise your hand so Miss Logan can come and check it. If you think you've got something underlined that's important, raise your hand.
Mrs. Logan.
I see it.
I see.
We have a couple hands over here, Miss Logan, and some friends who think they have it. Careful with the table, guys. The videotaping table. And sometimes it's hard to know.
I think maybe some.
Let me check something. Nice! Excellent! So here we go. You should have, she began planning and organization. So over here, it's planning
Wait, what?
her organization. She's planning her organization. There's one other part that's important. She wanted the organization to teach the girls what? What? Okay, so to be independent, what else did she want them? To be strong and confident. We're going to say to teach them what? Skills. So she starts planning the skills that she wants them to be taught, okay? And she's got lots of skills here. She's got arts and sciences, business, becoming strong and confident, lots of skills. And the last one, underline what you think is the important part of the very last one. What's the important part of the very last one? Very last one. What's important? Very last one.
Okay. This is fun.
George, sit down. Mrs. Campbell, if somebody at your table has it, let me know if you think someone has it. What do you think it is?
Oh.
Miss Logan's checking. You should be reading and seeing. Okay, Savita, what do you think it was? What was the big thing?
Poppy.
Nice. So Juliet actually starts what? They later changed the name to the Girl Scouts. So she starts the Girl Scouts. Is there anyone in the class who's a Girl Scout?
Jayla.
Nobody.
Jayla, you're a Girl Scout. So Jayla, you can go back now to the Girl Scout meeting and you can say, you know what? We learned in class who started the Girl Scouts. It was this Juliet.
Wrong.
low. So very interesting. Okay, so let's erase that.
No.
I'm sorry, let me erase mine. And what does it say on the bottom of your paper, Emily?
Go on.
Go on.
Go on. And what does that remind you of, Emily? What do we take every Friday? We take a reading test. Yup, and it does remind me too of the reading test. Okay. Source number two. Number two. All right, Mrs. Campbell, come on up and you do the title at the beginning. I'll come and sit. Reading fingers ready, please. Here we go.
Our camp meeting. He believes that I might make more of my life. Juliet Gordon Lowe composed these words in her diary shortly after meeting Sir Robert Baden-Powell. Little did she know at the time how right he was.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Longer.
Juliet was traveling when she happened to meet Robert in 1911. She did not expect to like the war veteran. Juliet had experienced war as a child, and perhaps that had made her feel this way. But when she met Robert, she found that they had a lot in common. They both loved to travel and see the world. They also loved the arts.
In particular, Juliet was interested in a group that Robert had started, the Boy Scouts. He had created the group to help teach survival skills to boys in a fun and kid-friendly way. Juliet did not have a real purpose in life at that time, and she felt as if something was missing. She started thinking, why couldn't I do something like that for girls?
Perhaps Robert had seen a twinkle in Juliet's eye, for he seemed to know that she would go on to do great things. Juliet created the Girl Scouts in 1913 and never looked back.
Boys and girls, this is a second source about the same thing, kind of like our Wonders Test. And here's what I want you to do. Just like I did the paragraphs last time, you're going to do the paragraphs on your own. Make these little brackets, go through and write down what you think is the main idea of each little part. Go through, write it down. What do you think it would be? And when you have it all done and you would maybe like to share, I would be happy to see what you got. But I want to see everybody has something on their paper.
Yeah, so just look at what they're given the answers, like help her go through and guess it. Then, if you want to take the flashcards even, you know what I did with them. And then she's going to take it later.
Find one. Okay. We already did create it. It has a lot of cheese in it.
What did she do in this one? He said that she didn't know.
Eat hard. You try to do that. Let's see the taste out of it. There's a lot of cheese.
All right.
I have to please.
Let's do this first one. Somebody raise your hand. Tell me what you got for the first one. Savannah, good job on that. Meeting, good job. Right here it says, after meeting Sir Robert. So that's really important. We're going to write that down. She met Sir Robert. Now, Isaiah brought up an important thing. He said, well, this is fine too. We already read about that in the last article. Remember, this says source number 2. So these are 2 articles. Are they about different things or the same thing? The same thing. So they're just 2 different sources. Because who remembers our research project on the national parks?
No.
Did you ever have a book about the same national park?
No.
Yes. There were several books about Zion National Park. Several books about the Grand Canyon. So you had different sources.
Excuse the interruption, but at this time, any student in kindergarten, 1st or 2nd grade that needs to make up the NWEA testing needs to proceed to the art room, and 3rd grade needs to proceed to the art room with a laptop and headphones. Kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade to make up NWEA in the art room.
What?
Laptop and headphones, please bring them. Thank you.
Okay, Jacob can take one. Miss Logan, will you plug in that laptop?
Make sure you turn the laptop and headphones.
All right, next one. It says, well, you need to make one too, but
Yeah.
you only have a little bit left, right?
I believe
Take a laptop.
Well, obviously.
All right, next one.
You have cheese.
Juliet was traveling. Okay, this one. Let's go to this one. So she was traveling when she met Robert in 1911. Did anyone come up with a topic for this one? Mason. Okay, but she doesn't know that they're nice. But what happens at the end? She finds out that they have.
Common.
Nice job, Isaiah. So Robert and Juliet have a lot in common. And Isaiah actually did one word for this, and that would be okay as long as he understood. In particular, Juliet was interested in a group that Robert had started, the Boy Scouts. What'd you get for this one?
Nothing.
Jayla? Good. She wants to invent the Girl Scouts. She wants to invent a similar group, right? She's like a similar group. She doesn't really know yet what the group is going to be, but she wants a similar group. And then it says, Juliet, when did she actually start? What's this last one? What would you say? This last one, what would you say?
Great thing.
Robert? You did think she could do it. That's a great one. But what's the most important thing, do you think? When does she start it? She starts it when? Look at that one, Robert, at the very end of this one. Remember, topics and conclusions give us good details about what the paragraph is about. When did she start it, Robert? Nice. So, 1913, she starts. Did we have that back somewhere else?
Yeah.
Where was it?
I don't remember. Source 1?
Yeah, on source 1. Excellent. So write that down. 1913, she starts the Girl Scouts. Because now we've gone over both of our sources. We've gone over them. And we know what they're about. And now there are actually questions. So you're going to take that. Nope, I'm not kidding. And you are going to put it in your basket. So if you would take that and put it in your basket.
We don't have to do the
Please write your name on it. Oh, I'm sorry. Before you do, please write your name on it. We're going to do the questions tomorrow.